I mean, the music was already making me so excited. Almost forgot that we had the session, so well, that's a good way to start the week, the weekend. Uh, so for the next 1.5 hours or so, we have the working group, the newcomer onboarding working group, has designed this session to help newcomers to Canada. I'm always saying Calgary, don't mind me. I'm so fond of Calgary, I keep saying Calgary all the time. So to Canada, already we have almost 100 people. Hopefully we have more as already we have 101, so that's great. So we hope to have more people joining. But before that happens, there are just a few things we'd like to do. We have a panel today that will be discussing on strategies and how newcomers can, get themselves well situated and prepared for the journey in Canada. Uh, Today it's pretty chilly in Calgary. It's about 5 degrees. I'm a bit envious of the guys in Ottawa because I can see they have a high of 21 degrees today, and that's pretty warm. So I wish I were in Ottawa right now. So like I said, this is going to be really interactive. We want you to put in your comments in the chat box, where you're from, your location, and your personal information if you're willing to do that. So I would say, as we proceed, the next thing on our agenda will be to have the Canadian anthem. We're all in Canada, and even if we're not in Canada, we have most people in Canada and people who are hoping to move to Canada. And so Canada is either going to be our adopted country, or we already have people who are Canadian citizens. So on cue, would have, in a few seconds from now, would have the Canadian anthem just to honor our adopted land. So would have the anthem in a few seconds. Well, yeah, so, anytime I hear the anthem, I have that, feeling in my spine. I'm not Canadian yet, I'm still a newcomer, and I hope while the anthem was going, we had Canadians singing along. So next, the cue would be to invite Ugo Njoku. Ugo Njoku is the Director of Programs and Initiative for NIPCA. He will be giving us the welcome address and telling us about NIPCA's vision. So we'll have Ugo Njoku come around and please talk to us about NIPCA's vision and present the welcome address.
So, hello, good evening, everyone. Well, by my time, it's great to see that we do have a lot of patronage from all over. I've seen that we have people joining in from different parts of Canada. We have people joining in from the UK, from Nigeria. Well, I just want to say welcome to this maiden edition of our Newcomers program. The NIPCA welcomes you all, and basically speaking, we, as an organization, the Nigerian IT professionals in Canada, we strive to build a very, very profiting and support-based ecosystem and platform for Nigerians here in Canada. It's a group, it's an organization, it's an ecosystem, it's a partnership. It's anything that will make you feel home, away from home. As you can see on the screen, NIPCA was founded in August 2018. You know, we've put in a lot of work. We've put in the groundwork to actually metamorphose it into a big tech ecosystem. We started out just barely over 2 years ago, and now we are boasting of over 3,000 members. As you can see, incorporated as an NGO. We have a lot of programs that come from the stable of NIPCA. This is just one of them. Ultimately, we try as much as possible to make sure that whatever we do is you know, profitable to everyone who joins. So the organization is here to support Nigerians and indeed other nationalities, just not Nigerians as well. We started out with that, but now we are all encompassing. We welcome everyone to the fold. And as much as we can, we give all the support that we can give to everyone else. So one would ask, what then is the vision and the mission of this organization? NIPCA is striving to be an innovative and very progressive, vibrant organization that will promote integration for us as a people, as we integrate with other people. Canada is full of, it's a land full of very diverse and multinational talents. So it's important that once you get here, you understand that integration is key if you want to actually grow to your full potential and growth. As you can see, it also talks about diversity. We are Black, and there's so many other people as well, but these are not limiting factors. These are factors that we have found, especially late, that could make us strong. Our commitment as seen, I'm actually standing in for a very able and capable president who is away, unavoidably away, seen below. And you can see his words on Marble. We are committed to building an enduring organization that helps our members, community, and partners succeed. So we want you all to succeed. We want everyone that is a member of NIPCA to succeed. You can see our core values below: professionalism, education, passion, selflessness, innovation, teamwork, and most importantly, integrity, right? So these are the values that have built NIPCA into the ground, from the ground up, to ensure that we are value adding in every way, sphere, or realm that we actually decide to compete in. I will just end this to let you all know that the Newcomer program is one of the key deliverables of our integration and diversity inclusion. It's one of the programs, one of the projects, one of the functional working groups that we have there. So being that this is a new initiative by the Newcomer group, I want to first of all welcome you all. I want to thank the team who put this all together. It has been a lot of work on your own end, and at the same time, I'm hopeful. I'm actually not hopeful. I'm confident in the fact that for all the work that has been put in here to actually ensure that we actually showcase NIPCA to you on the screen of our strategy, this is just one of the things we do. This Newcomer program is just on one particular thing here: the integration, diversity, and inclusion. As you can see, NIPCA is value-packed, it's power-packed, it's loaded. So it's left for everyone to harness these opportunities that we provide for you on a very power-packed platform. So welcome all. I'm sure that this session will be truly a life-changing event for you, to be something that will be a very major value add to each and every one of you who have joined us for the first time. I'm going to call on Kemi now. Kemi is the program manager for the Newcomer program, and I'm pretty sure she is pumped up and ready to actually start downloading value to you guys straight away. Kemi.
Thank you very much, Ugo. Hi, everyone. My name is Kemi, just like Ugo mentioned. And you're all welcome to the maiden edition of the Newcomer program, which we've named FlourshIn. And I would like to thank the NIPCA execs for making this possible, and the program team, the Newcomer program team, for their time and the input in making this happen. I'm here to answer the question, why FlourshIn? Why has this, why did we come together to start this program? And FlourshIn was birthed by NIPCA because of the ever-present need that arises due to the disconnect that happens when and after we've moved countries. As newcomers, we all went through the stage where we groped in the dark. And while we're still learning, it is very, very essential that as a community, we're able to help one another integrate and settle seamlessly, even better than those of us that have been here, those that are coming in, we're able to give them a better experience, better settling experience than what people that have been here before them had. And we have the team, we have people from different provinces still, we're growing. Like I said, it's the maiden edition. There's people from Ontario. So I'm in Ontario, and I've got Debbie Oladunjoye from Ontario, Oliver Anyanwu also from Ontario, Olaiton Fasheiton from Ontario, Ewain Akinya from Ontario also, from Alberta. We've got Lumi Olotu, that's our host for today. Then I've got Funke Oladeji also from Alberta. From Nova Scotia, we've got Blessing Orajiaka here from Nova Scotia. And from Manitoba, we have Binga Shobandi on the team. Now we're still growing. We don't have people in all the provinces just yet, but I believe as time goes on and as we begin to, have this program, we would have more people from the other provinces. This is a program that is slated to happen every quarter in the year. But this year, we might just not have the full 4 programs because of the travel restrictions and all. But going forward, hopefully we'll be able to have it every quarter in the year. Now, I do hope that at the end of this program, everyone that has attended today would have something tangible that they've learned today that would help them in their integration into Canada and settlement. Like we've said, and Ugo mentioned also, people focused, settlement and integration is the one of our major goals to help people settle in this country, and we want to make a collective impact as a group, as a community, and as members of the NIPCA group. Thank you everyone once again from wherever you're joining. We really appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. And yes, so we would go ahead to the next item on our agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Kemi, for that very insightful talk. I'd like to let everybody know that this session is currently recorded, and so that's just for the record. I've been a member of NIPCA for about 2 years now, and when I joined NIPCA at first, I was really impressed because I saw people who were like me and people who were doing good things, and so my joining NIPCA inspired me. And even though I was silent when I first joined, and I'm still pretty much silent most of the time in the group and the different communication channels, but one big impact that NIPCA has had in my life and my professional career is just giving me belief that I can do it, because I see other people Nigerians, Black people, people of color, who are achieving great things, and that fits my confidence in myself. We see people, I'd like to know if there's anyone from the Northwestern Territories. I saw someone who said it was in Nunavut. I hope you're not freezing. But going on to the next item on our agenda would be bringing in Mr. Olushola Omoni. He's one of our panelists today. Mr. Olushola Omoni is immigrated to Canada in 2012. He's a mentor with TAEC, and has a track record of delivering enterprise-wide projects across industries. He's lived in 3 continents. We're going to still hear more from him on the different part of the session where we have the panelist Q&A. But for now, we would like to bring him. That's just going to be a brief introduction before we have the full introduction of all. And we can see on the deck, you can see his full profile there, or a summary of his profile. So we'd like to bring in Mr. Olushola Omoni to talk about Canadian workplace culture and give us an overview of that. Mr. Olushola, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Lumi. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today. So it's a very easy task that I have. This is something that's very close to my heart. I happen to have moved to Canada a couple of years ago. I don't remember exactly how many years it is now. It's been a while. But talking about flourishing in Canada, I would want us to approach this from two perspectives, because flourishing it's just not about getting a job. It's not just about doing your job. So thinking about this, when I was getting my thoughts together around today's event, I thought, okay, maybe the way to go would be to have a look at what do you do in order to be able to get a job? And then what do you do when you've already started doing the job? So because flourishing goes beyond just getting a job. So a lot of us, if not all of us, come to Canada with valuable skills, experience, knowledge. And the Canadian economy is very receptive. We are welcome. As you all know, going through that process, your educational qualifications have been assessed. A number of considerations have been given. You've been found to be eligible, and that's why you're here. So definitely the country recognizes you as somebody who can contribute to the economy and the country at large. So why don't we all then become successful as soon as we arrive in Canada? So what comes to mind readily is that, yes, we have a lot of qualifications, we have a lot of experience, we have knowledge, all valuable. But the missing thing is actually that we don't necessarily stop to think about the differences between where we're coming from and where we are. So what I would like to, the way I would like to put this is you need to do a quick pest analysis. You need to look at the environment. You need to look at the culture. You need to look at what's going on around you. We all do that at work. So why don't we do it for ourselves? So when you do a pest analysis, you consider your strengths, your weaknesses, and that puts you in a position to decide or determine what direction you will go. So the first thing really to do is to do an assessment. Where I'm coming from, what are the visible differences that I see already between Nigeria and or wherever it is that I'm coming from, and what I see happening around me. That's the first thing, the cultural part. Secondly, moving countries is not just an opportunity for you to move in terms of geography. It might provide an opportunity for you to move from one job that you've always done as a source of livelihood, just getting by, paying the bills, into something that you've always wanted to do. So talking about flourishing, you need to consider fulfillment. How do you derive fulfillment from what you do? Fulfillment comes from an alignment with what you're doing with purpose. So for example, I came to Canada, I'd been working for a good number of years, and I was doing something entirely different. But it provided an opportunity for me to look at what I really wanted to do for the rest of my life. Am I happy doing what I've always been doing? Maybe not. And maybe you are. So in that case, it's easy. But if you find that, yes, I would want to do something else, moving from one country to the other would give you that opportunity to reset, reskill, unlearn, relearn, and then apply yourself in your new country. So that's something else that you probably want to give some thought to. It's very important. If you want to flourish, you want to be happy when you wake up in the morning and you think, okay, yes, I'm going out. And I'm not going to say I'm going out to my job. I'm going out to do whatever it is that I want to do. Employed, self-employed, entrepreneur, whatever it is that you do, you want to be happy going there. And that's where fulfillment comes from. And when you're fulfilled, you flourish. Now, so that said, that's the bit about what do you have to do before you land a job. I'm sure everybody has heard about the almighty Canadian experience. That's something that coming from Nigeria, if you're just starting, nobody would ask you for too much experience. And there are a lot of considerations. My dad knows somebody somewhere, sent a note, and then I get invited for an interview. That puts me over the rest of the people who don't have connections. So But here in Canada, when we all come, our parents are not necessarily here. We don't know too many people. It's an entirely different structure. So yes, we're not able to jump to the top of the pack like we would if we were looking for a job in Nigeria. So all of these things are considerations. We need to understand the uniqueness, the peculiarities of the Canadian workplace in order for us to be able to flourish, in order for us to succeed in Canada. So now we've done our SWOT analysis, personal SWOT, we've done a personal test, we know what's going on. Next thing to do will be, you have skills, map your skills. Map those skills that you have so that you don't start all over again. So you look at yourself and I say, okay, so what skills do I have that is relevant in the current climate, in the current space where I am? And I'll give a very good example. When I came, a lot of people encouraged me to be a business analyst. Okay, you're very good at this, you're very good at, it's something that you can do. But then I looked inward and I said to myself, yes, I know myself, I know my limitations. I'm not really cut out for eliciting information, eliciting requirements from people. But then looking at the technology space, where can I transfer skills that I have? Yes, I'm a very good resource manager. I have acquired enough conflict management skills, negotiation skills, stakeholder engagement skills. So I thought to myself, yes, I will be a better project manager than I would be if I wanted to be a business analyst. And so that's where I decided to go. I didn't necessarily follow the bandwagon. I didn't necessarily follow the herd. Everybody was pointing me in the direction of business analysis, but I knew that I would not make a very good business analyst. So you need to be honest with yourself. You need to, understand your weaknesses, understand your limitations, and set yourself up for success. You need to put yourself, a round peg in a round hole, a square peg in a square hole. Don't put a round peg in a square hole. So now let's assume that you have scaled the hurdles of the interview process. You have a job. How do you keep a job? How do you flourish on the job? That's an entirely different ballgame too, because you need to understand the nuances. You need to understand the culture. And I will illustrate this. In Nigeria, when you start working, your manager tells you, provides direction, tells you what to do, tells you what you need to do. We look up to our managers. It's an hierarchical structure. Yes, in Canada, you still have to take instructions, but your manager expects you to be visible. Your manager expects you to have input, to make input. Your manager expects you to be able to engage others, to have good discourse. So it's not necessarily the manager telling you how to do it. They will tell you what needs to be done, but then it's entirely up to you how your manager views you, how much you participate. You're supposed to be seen as somebody who is a very good team member. You can work well with other people, irrespective of their cultural differences, irrespective of their beliefs and value systems. In the workplace, you need to respect people. Something else that you probably need to be able to do at work is that, another example, you want to progress. Progress comes, true progress comes when you're outside of your comfort zone. When you stay within your comfort zone, you're still staying in that space. When you go outside your comfort zone, then you progress because you are moving forward, you are expanding. So you may have to maybe take on a bit more than everybody is willing to do, because you're limited by the fact that you just came to Canada. You're competing with people who have been working in that organization for the last 15 years, for the last 5 years. So what do you do in order to be visible? You may have to volunteer to do a little bit more than everybody is doing. So it's all about being involved. It's all about showing that, yes, I have valuable insights. I can contribute to this group and I can help to make us successful. So it will fall on you to do that. Initiative, you need to take initiative. You need to, like I said before, volunteer. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid. You have, just trust yourself that you have what it takes to be a very valuable member of that organization, of that team, of that group. I would like to mention something, and this is something that I find happens a whole lot. In Canada, we're very respectful. So at work, you engage your manager, and the manager tells you, yes, you're doing well, but maybe you could have done it this way. And then you have another one-to-one the week after, and he says, yes, you're doing okay, but you could have done this in addition to what you did. And so several times you get feedback from your manager. Now, feedback is something that in Canada, the negative part of the feedback is usually wrapped between the positive, a positive statement. Now, you are thinking to yourself, you are doing exceptionally well. And you need to pay attention to that but you could have, that but you might be able to do better if you consider this, because we tend to hear what we want to hear. So in that process, you think you're doing well. I have been told of a situation where somebody kept getting feedback, not understanding that it was constructive feedback, and he thought he was doing well. In a couple of weeks, he went to his manager and asked for a pay raise. Unfortunately, he was fired because really he could not take corrective action because he was focusing on that positive part of the feedback that he was getting and not paying attention to that part which he should have corrected. So we need to pay attention to this kind of things. In the Canadian workplace, they're not going to tell you you're doing an awful job. They're not going to tell you you're bad at what you do. You get your job based on the hard skills, but you need soft skills to keep the job. You need to be perceptive. You need to be intuitive. You need to, be able to read between the lines in order for you to be able to make use of feedback that you get from your peers, from your line manager. So these are the kind of things that we need to watch out for in the Canadian workplace. Now, visibility helps you to flourish. We need to ensure that when we get the job, we have to keep networking. You need to keep building your network. Don't stop building that network because you already have a job. Don't stop building that network. The next job might come from somebody who knows what you are able to do. The next job might come from somebody who has seen you working and thinks, yes, this person is ready for that next role. So keep networking, keep building that network. Your net worth in Canada is a function of your network. If you have a large network, your net worth is big. If you have a very small network, you have a very small net worth in Canada. Now, that said, remember, find purpose. Flourishing, fulfillment, these things actually come from doing what you desire, what makes you happy. I'll give a very, very good illustration. I know somebody who came to this country and was a successful business analyst, but then he went to start his own restaurant. I'm sure a number of you will know him, Chef Babs. He owns Get Grill. He left a very good job as a business analyst to do what was his passion, cooking. And today, if you want to own a franchise, you may want to speak to him because he has a flourishing business from BA to cooking. So, like I said, remember, it's an opportunity for you to do what you want to do that will make you happy. Be diligent, be consistent. In Canada, if you're consistent, if you start doing something and you're consistent, you will get to the top. Don't be unhappy. Don't be disappointed because it's not fast. Don't forget you're competing with people who have been doing it much longer than you have been in this environment. And give back. Give back. Volunteering. NIPCA is an avenue to give back. We flourish when everybody is doing well. We're not flourishing when only Olu is doing well. We're not flourishing when only Kemi is doing well or only Lumi is doing well. We flourish when everybody is doing well. So remember, it's not necessarily about the hard skills in the Canadian workplace. It's really about the soft skills. The hard skills may get you your qualifications, your skill set may get you the job, but it may not help you keep the job. It may not make you happy. You can learn skills every day, but your attitude has to be right. That's all that I have for now. And I believe that we will get an opportunity to interact a little bit more. So if there are specific questions that anybody has, we'll be able to address them at a time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. That was very, very insightful. And, that was loads of nuggets in there on strategies that you could use, not just to get a job and how to retain your job also. I mean, the points you made about showing value, taking initiative, and also trying to remain visible even when you have a job, those are things that are really key. And I know that people would find that useful. I myself find that useful, trying to show visibility wherever you are, even if you think you're doing a good job. So thank you once again for that. And please, if you have questions, feel free to post them in the chat box. We'll be attending to the questions. We'll try as much as possible to attend to all the questions. Or if not, we'll continue on our other communication platforms. So please feel free to post your questions in the chat box. We'll be going to the next item, and this is a story. We're going to be putting a spotlight on Chinedu Nweke, popularly known as Skinny. When you come to Canada, a lot of the time, the story you hear and what you fed is that it's a struggle, and you're doing this for your kids and all that. But why that? It's sometimes necessary not to have that conditioned mind, and while it's necessary sometimes to have measured expectations, it's also great to know that there are vast possibilities. And the story of Chini is just one of such. And so having come around to talk about immigrant stories starting strong in Canada, and hopefully I'm very sure I'm pretty certain that we're going to have get valuable insights from his story. So over to you, Chinedu Nweke.
Sorry, I think. Lumi, can you continue? Just, I think I'm having some technology issues.
Okay, so while Chinny's trying to figure out, we all have this with virtual meetings and all that. It's either your mic isn't working or you're on mute and you don't know people can't hear you. So Chinny has been the one providing us music before we started, and so we'll just wait. All right, it's just one of those things. Would wait. We'll give it a few minutes or seconds to have Chinny set that out. But meanwhile, I really see people are talking about the response to the talk that Mr. Shola gave, and I hopefully we were able to learn from that. From just highlight a few of the tips that Mr. Shola gave when you have a job, and to show value, always be polite. Soft skills are really big in Canada. And so sometimes the focus, especially when you have a job, really isn't on the technical skills. It's more about communication, teamwork, and how you're able to, relate with other people. So hopefully Snedu has everything figured out now.
Yes, I think I'm okay now. Sometimes technology could come in the mix, right? And then you gotta try to do a lot of things together to make it work. But good enough, we've been able to sort it out at the back end. So everyone, I'll be sharing my immigrant story, and I would like to use what we call the river of life to talk about my navigation from coming from Nigeria and into Canada to, what I presently do. So my name is Chinedu. I have a background in engineering, and I started my career, years ago in Cadbury, Unilever. I'd also done stints at British American Tobacco. So I moved to Canada, right, in 2018. You can see the timeline on the left, and then, the river of life starts from Nigeria, which is on the right. So again, I had my family, I had a pair of twins. Then, with my wife, we decided to embark on this journey. They were just about 2.5 years old. But then we took that long, grueling, some people say it's up to 22 hours flight, but to me, I thought it was like 3 days because I kept sleeping and waking up. So we took that approach. So we came to Canada via the express entry, of course. And during that period, right, I was actually interviewing from Nigeria. So, people say you can hardly get a job when you're still in Nigeria and all, but there are strategies which I used, and I'm going to talk about that subsequently during the Q&A. However, I had like 2 final interviews, so I landed, and as soon as I landed, I just wrapped up with 2 directors. The next 2 days, it was back to back, and I had 2 jobs, and I was surprised which of them should I choose, right? So down the river, I took Molson course, which is a beverage company. Yeah, we make beer back then. I used to make beer with them, and other beverages as well. So I joined Molson, but there was one key thing I also did when I joined Molson, because again, Molson gave me my first chance in Canada. They gave me a door, right? So they gave me, a foot in the door. But then I also helped bring in 2 people. So I referred 2 Nigerians into Molson, and then those 2 people actually, again, my network is Nigerian, right? So I had to bring them in, recommend them, and they were excellent at their field as well. So they came into the company, and they delivered great value. So I was at Molson for about 1 year, 4 months ish, and then I decided we need to do something different, right? We need to move forward. We need to grow. An opportunity came to be to be a manager, a full manager, right? So I used to be a manager in Nigeria. I came in similar role, but then to be among senior leadership. An opportunity came at a company called Treehouse Foods. But then I was confused. I was like, should I take this job? Should I not take it and all? So I spoke to the great resources we have at NIPCA, more especially Osita, who's our president. And then, he told me, do it afraid, do it. You can do it, you have what it takes. We've got the community behind you. We've got over 3,000 plus professionals supporting you, so you can do it, right? So I took it. I wore the life jacket, if you look at it there, close to NIPCA. And then I leveraged the community of professionals we had then, and I joined, right, the new company in 2019. And during that period, I found out that we were going to have a new baby. And I was like, oh, you can see me by the left here. When I found out a new baby was on the way, I was like, how are we going to do this? Already two is a crowd, and they want to have 3, right? Wow, that was really a big one for me. But then I decided, oh yeah, let's do it. And no, the house we're going to need a bigger house. And then good enough, there was a job that came in that was also a bigger job. So I took that, I went there in Treehouse Food. I'm like the only Black person in the site leadership team. There were a lot of cultural differences, there were a lot of back and forth and all, but what I did was I proved myself, right? Yes, my skin could be Black. Yes, I could have different, upbringing from, Canadians and all, but then I have a difference, and that's what makes me unique. Right. So there were some nuances. There were some things where, people could raise issues. And I felt sometimes it was just because of, I'm not like them. Right. But again, I didn't let that deter me. I told myself that my work is going to speak for me. And that was what I did. I made my work speak for me. I proved myself and all. And then I was able to gather trust from the team. So around that time as well, I got we were able to get a house. We bought a detached house here in Brantford. It was 8 minutes from work. We're living the life. It was so beautiful and all. Everybody's happy, family, everyone, happy and all. Then the pandemic set in and all. There were highs and lows. But again, I also want to use this opportunity to announce to the team, I've actually been at Treehouse for about close to 1.5 years now. And then I'll be taking my next challenge, which is a new leadership role in a top company. It's one of the biggest, Fortune 500 companies in the world. And I'm going to be part of the technical leadership team, providing technical leadership to that team at the site. So again, this is just to share my story. I immigrated 3 years ago, barely 3 years and all. I was able to pivot into my field. I was able to do what I like. I was able to achieve what I achieved. And I believe that if I could do it, every newcomer in Canada can do it. If I could do it, everybody can do it and all. Because our skills are valid. Everything we know from Nigeria is very much valid. Let no one tell us otherwise. Thank you, everyone. And this is my story of the River of Life.
Thank you, Shani, for sharing your story. That's really inspiring. And when you hear stories like that, it makes you that fits your belief that you can also do this. And when I heard Shani's story, I came into Canada around the same time, but I mean that's encouraging. It's always great to hear stories that just let you believe that, yeah, I can do it. This guy's doing it, I can do it. So we decided to share that story just to let people know that our life as immigrants doesn't have to be a life of struggle and toil. We can actually flourish, and we not only can actually flourish, but we should be flourishing. All of us, or most of us who came from different countries of the world, were doing well before we came here. So why should we settle for less? And so that's the story we decided to share just to inspire people. And I'm personally inspired by that. So to go ahead, we'll be going on to the next item, which will be the introduction of panelists. On our panel today, we have 3 people. We've met 2 of them already. Cheney is one of the members of the panel. Shola Omoni is also a member of the panel. And we have Debbie Olatunjoye as the 3rd person on the panel. I'm just going to read, we have it on the deck, and you should be able to see the profile of all 3 people, but I will just do a quick overview, so not to take so much time. Mr. Olushola Omoni immigrated to Canada in 2012. He started his career in Scotiabank and has since then consulted for 3 of the largest banks in Canada, with proven track records of delivering enterprise-wide projects leveraging technology. Olushola has lived in 3 continents and has over 15 years work experience cutting across insurance, banking, and IT. He's currently a senior technical project manager at Loblaws Companies Limited, and he's a member of the Project Management Institute, Scrum Alliance, London Insurance Institute, and sits on the advisory board of AI Forum. Olushola is passionate about building future-ready skills in addition to helping immigrants succeed, and he's a mentor for the Toronto Regional Immigrant Employment Council. He'll be sharing great nuggets for immigrant success in today's world. We have also Debbie Olatunjoye, who is a senior professional with over 22 years experience across a variety of information technology ecosystems. Starting her career in banking, she moved to the UK, where she worked as a business analyst for Mercer HR Services. Debbie moved to Canada 13 years ago and has managed IT audit services, analysis, and support at Newcomers, as well as consulted for Manulife. In her current role as an independent consultant for RBC, she's delivered value across several projects where she consulted as a business systems analyst and Scrum Master. Debbie's passionate about helping newcomers flourish and will be sharing her perspectives on strategies to avoid classical pitfalls that immigrants make. And the last person on our panel will be Chinedu, who just spoke to us. Chinedu Nwoke is a highly passionate and result-oriented continuous improvement manager with 3 households incorporated. He started his career in 2010 and has over 10 years working experience delivering value across information technology, manufacturing, and business process improvement in several multinationals such as Cadbury, Unilever, British American Tobacco, and Molson Coors. In 2018, Chinedu moved to Canada and seamlessly began his career where he left off, leveraging uncommon strategies for success, which he'll be sharing. He's a member of the Project Management Institute and sits on the leadership team of the Nigerian IT professionals in Canada, leading the membership development directorate. So would like to welcome, and I want a virtual e-clap for all 3 members as we welcome them. You can put in your clap emojis in the chat box there. So I would have welcome Shola, welcome Debbie, welcome Chinedu. Yeah. So to start with, we prepared a few questions which we believe will be really helpful and deals with the issues that new immigrants face. And hopefully you can throw some insights and thanks. You can throw some insights and share your knowledge about how you think these issues that affect new immigrants can be dealt with. So we'll start with Mr. Olushola, and the first question will be to Mr. Olushola. So for Mr. Olushola, I would like to ask, what strategies can be adopted by new immigrants to leverage their foreign experience and skill set in Canada? We have people who come in through the skilled program, multiple degrees, lots of experience, will find it difficult to start life or begin in Canada. So what strategies would you advise or would you give so that people can leverage that experience to start a life and flourish in Canada?
Thank you, Luby. So leveraging international experience. So a number of us might think that we are limited by the fact that we have international experience. When I came to, and by the way, I've actually lived in the United Kingdom as well and worked there. And I've lived in Nigeria and worked in Nigeria. I've lived in Canada and worked in Canada. So yes, I had international experience at some point in time. So the ideal thing to do would be to not to hide the fact that you have international experience, it's actually to project it. It's not a limitation, it's not a disadvantage, but we live in a global village today. Everybody is connected, everywhere is connected. People have business partners in different parts of the world. So international experience is something that could actually push you to the top of the ladder when people are expanding outside of their home countries. You have multinationals like Unilever, like Cadbury. They're looking for people who know the local economy and understand what best practice is. So you might find yourself being considered for a position just because you know how things work in the United Kingdom or how things work in Africa. So it's not a limitation. But the one thing that you need to do, like I said earlier, you need to understand the differences between where you're coming from and where you are, and map those strong points to maybe capabilities where you just moved to. And that will help you. If you are able to figure out what skills will be relevant in your new home, on your new job, transferable skills, things that you can, that they're common to every location on the globe. I mean, communication is communication in Africa. It is communication in Canada. So if you are able to communicate effectively, it's something that you should showcase. Conflict resolution is the same worldwide. Negotiation is the same worldwide. There are skills that you can transfer from Nigeria to Canada directly without doing anything. So that's what I will do. The other thing that you may have to do is to reskill. If you find that you don't have the kind of skills that would make you successful on your new role, on your new job, you may have to unlearn some of the things that you previously used to do and relearn new things, and then reapply yourself in the current exemplar. Thank you.
Thank you, Shola, for that. Hopefully everyone finds that useful, and thanks for your answer. I would pose a question to Debbie, and my question to Debbie would be, for those who are transitioning to a new career path in Canada, what are the top 3 or 5 things you think they should be doing? Some people who come in maybe with an engineering background or a regulated skill and feel they would like to transfer, move over to a new career, what are the top 3 or 5 things you encourage them to do? Hi, Debbie, you're still on mute. Okay.
Okay, I'm unmuting myself now. I hope you can hear me. I think my network is having issues. Okay, so to answer that question, a couple of things I would say is to take inventory of your skills, like I said rightly. So you could have soft skills, you could have hard skills. I'm assuming at this point you already decided that you want to change your industry, so or your career path. So you want to see what career do you want to go to, which industries, can you find that career path, and what kind of skills do you have currently that are transferable, whether soft skills, maybe problem solving, communication, negotiation, soft skills like that, or hard skills. Do you need hard tech skills? Let's say you are moving into DevOps, for example, right? You require hard tech skills. Do you need to go to school for that? Okay. Do you need to just, do a quick certificate course, or you have to start from scratch, or is it certifications you need? You need to understand your current skill set, okay, and how it will transition to the new career path. So that's the first thing. Now, the other thing is that you need to consider, do I need to do education? Depending on the kind of field you are moving to. I've had people that they were accountants in Nigeria, okay, or where they were coming from, but they don't want to go through the stress of, becoming PAs or ACCA here, okay, and they decided, okay, for various reasons that worked for that person. She had to go back to school, right? And then, she spent about 5 years going through the whole process to now become a nurse. So there are many stories like that, but you have to decide whether that's for you. So now, after you've identified, okay, what is this gap between your current skill and the new skill, you have to be honest with yourself. Can you make the investment of the time that is required or education that is required to actually get into that other field? You have to think about your family commitment. So, like Shola said, doing like a risk assessment, right? Are you single? Okay, if you're single, how are you gonna, if you need to go back to school, how are you gonna take care of yourself while you're not earning income to pursue this other career path? What does that look like? Okay, is this something that you can embark on immediately, or maybe you have an experience from Nigeria or from wherever you're coming from, and then maybe you can do something small now in this your current field, and then have a maybe 3-year plan or 2-year plan to transition into this new career path. Okay, so what works for person A may not work for person B. You have to think about your own situation, right? It's also possible that, let's say you are married, okay? I've seen situations where, for example, this happened to me personally, okay? When I was trying to move away from full-time employment and going, I looked at my family situation. Okay, there was a time I couldn't do that because I had young kids. But when I was doing it, was the right time for me because, my kids were at a point where, I could take more risks, okay? And my husband was fully settled in his career. He had a permanent job. So I had more leeway to take risks. If I go contracting and it doesn't work, that's fine. Worst case, I'm out of a job for 6 months and then I go look for another permanent job. So you have to think about your own situation, okay? And I will reiterate that education is important. Continuous learning is important. If you want to transition, there will be an investment required. Okay, there's no shortcut success. Investment in education or learning new skills, and so you need to be willing to do that. If you're just saying it with your mouth that I want to change my career, I want to become, I want to go to DevOps, or I want to become a software developer, okay, and you don't want to make the investment required to do it, then you're really just talking. Okay, so there's investment required. I think those are the key things, right? And also think about the costs financially. Can you afford it? Are there grants, that you can benefit from? Is there another, is there a shortcut that you can take through, getting the amount of money that you need to invest into it? So I think I've covered the question, hopefully.
Yes, you did. You did good justice to that. Looking at your current situation and understanding that there will be investments to be made for such a change to occur, critical things. And thank you for that great answer. On to Chinny. I hope your mic's working this time around. Okay, so on to Chinny, where I have a question. As newcomers, how do we effectively brand ourselves to position us for opportunities in the job market? And when I ask that, a lot of newcomers come in and they carry this newcomer tag along with them. They go to interviews or they keep saying, I'm a newcomer, I just landed. How do you brand yourself to make yourself look more valuable and look like a resource that the employer wants to have?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Personal branding is a big topic, right? And it's not something that one can exhaust, right? But as newcomers, one thing is for sure, right? You are held, I am held, we all that are immigrants, are held to a very higher level of accountability, a very higher level of scrutiny than our, privileged, folks, right? Sort of, so to speak. So we because of that, you need to be extra careful. Like on social media, of course, what you post on LinkedIn, how well your LinkedIn profile is, it's all part of branding. It speaks to you, right? So if you go to your LinkedIn profile, all your jobs are there spell checks? Are there errors? Your CV in itself, have you run it through, Grammarly or a spell checker to see, even if your CV is even plagiarized, right? You never can know, because for some people, right, they just go and take a generic CV or something like that, right, and use. So you need to brand yourself very well, right? Because we're held to that higher degree of accountability. Another way we brand ourselves very well is to not just send CVs to jobs, right? Like if you want to, if it's related to job, right? You need to actually tailor your CV to the application. For me, I had about 10 different CVs for 10 different roles that I felt I could do, right? And I even had folders for each of those kind of roles, right? And if I apply to a particular company, I'll put that company there in its folder, no, so to kind of track it, right? But then in terms of branding, right, you need to hold yourself to that higher level of accountability, task yourself, and then prepare yourself, right, in terms of courses for interview. Some of us, we don't like spending, money, but you can actually have, you can actually make a $50 investment in your life, where you can use it to brand yourself on, get strategies on LinkedIn, get strategies on how to optimize with keywords, get strategies on how to, ace interviews, those things, those little $50, it's actually better than, using it to buy a new sneakers or something, right? So, but in terms of branding, your work speaks for you. But again, people can't see your work from outside. So you need a foot in the door. So you need to make yourself as marketable as possible. You need to make yourself as knowledgeable as possible in that field, because to be honest, you're going to held to a more higher standard. So that's my nugget for how you could brand yourself effectively.
Great, spot on. Especially when you talked about the resume. I remember when I was, for myself, I have maybe over 100 resumes, and even for the same job title, I have maybe like 20. I just tap them in Word with the company name. So tailoring your resume and making sure that you look professional from your social media presence or like LinkedIn. That's quite clear. Thanks, Jenny, for that. We'll move on again to Debbie. And I'll ask another question. What are the key things any newcomer to Canada should be doing? And this isn't really about job search. It's just about integration into Canadian society, your social life, networking, and just your general well-being. What are the things that you think people who just moved to Canada should be doing?
Okay, so this is a great question. Thank you for asking it. So I'll cover quite a number of things. Hopefully I'll be able to do justice to it within the time that I have. But the first important thing when you get here is that you need to understand the financial system, okay? And there's so many parts of the financial system. You need to set yourself up for long-term success financially, okay? Understand the credit system, okay? And I'm speaking here, coming from Nigeria. I'm sure we have other people from different parts of the world. The credit system is not really very established in Nigeria, okay? So you need to understand what it means here to have a good credit, to maintain the good credit, the little mistakes that you can make that can affect your credit. So for example, when you get here, you rent an apartment, okay? You do a 12-month lease. In Ontario, I think I can speak for Ontario. I don't know about the other provinces, okay? So you get a 12-month lease, and then within 8 months, you say, oh, I'm moving to another place. I got a job 2 hours away, and I'm going to quit my apartment. I'm going to move away.
I think we lost your audio, Debbie.
Yeah,
Debbie,
I'm
okay,
unmuting.
yeah.
Is it okay now? Okay, I
Yeah,
was
we can hear
unmuting
you.
myself.
Good.
Okay, so let's say, for example, right, you have a 12-month lease. You want to move after 8 months, okay, and you just leave the place. The landlord can come after you, especially if it's a corporation. Okay, it happened to us when we first got here. Where we stayed, we moved after 11 months, okay, to a new place. We bought a new place and we moved, okay. But we paid that extra 1 month, and thank God that I'm a stickler for paperwork. They came after us after 4 years. We got a letter from a collection agency asking us that, oh, you owed us so money with interest and all that. And then I had to fight back with all my paperwork. So imagine if I didn't, and I paid. We paid the last month. So imagine living without paying. That can spoil your credit, because they'll send collection agency will send it to the credit system, and that's it. So you need to understand how credit works. Okay. The other thing is that you need to understand how to build wealth. You know, what you save, it's more important than how much you earn. Someone that earns as a family income earns $200,000, okay, and they're spending their expenses is $205,000. They're broke. They will always be broke. But there are people that earn family income of $65,000, but their expenses, including their taxes, is $50,000 per year. Those people, within 10 years, they will build wealth than the people with $200,000 family income. You just be wondering where they're getting their money from, right? So when you first get to Canada, your goal should be to stabilize, okay? Be like, Chini said on his spreadsheet, on his presentation, be frugal. I'm not saying that don't spend money on things that bring you joy, okay? Find out what brings you joy and then splurge on those things. But you can't expect to have a big car, have a big house, have, Prada purses, and spend on everything. You always be in debt. That's just the bottom line. It's simple math. Okay, so that's important. Okay, then the other thing is that take advantage. Like I said, the financial system is very vast. When you get a job, most permanent employers will have like a group retirement savings or something like that, RSP. If you contribute, let's say they say for every $1, they will contribute an equal $1. Okay, or let's say if you contribute $1, they'll contribute $1.5. If you don't contribute, they don't contribute. Okay, if I had known the importance of this, I would be swimming in money now. I didn't find out about the importance of compounding interest, okay, and investing until after I've been here for a while. So these things are important. Don't spend everything you make, right? Understand RSPs. How do they work? Understand TFSAs. How do they work? RSPs. How can you save for your children? If you're just starting, you have like a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, get set up at an RSP. You don't have to have a lot of money. $20 per month is okay. You can start with it. It's about building the habits. If you never learn how to make a budget, this is the right time to learn. There are many resources on the internet. Okay, so having a good financial plan is important. Life insurance. Don't cheapen out on life insurance. As soon as you can, get life insurance. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think my time is fast spent. Let me move on to something else. If you have questions about finances, we will have responses on the website. So for relationships, if you are single and you plan to get married and you don't have anyone, when you get here, don't just pursue career alone. Think about that. Okay. Make yourself available for people to reach out to you and for you to be able to build relationships, to have a relationship, to get married, if that's what you want. Okay. If you came here with your children and you are married, take care of them. Understand how things work here. When you are taking care of kids or having a relationship with your spouse, understand the law when it comes to abuse and what's right about childcare and things like that. You need to be aware of those things. Okay. Then the other thing I wanted to talk about lastly is that you need to understand the law. And I've met various people that in their good intentions, they didn't know, and they made mistakes that required, getting lawyers and dealing with CRA or dealing with, the law. So be very wary about insurance fraud, insurance scam, things like that. So make sure that, you try as much as possible to work within the law. The law works here. It doesn't work where we come from, but it does work here. And even if you think you can get away with something, you'll be very surprised that after a couple of years, they'll come, somebody will come knocking on your door and asking questions. So, make sure you have an accountant or you understand taxes. tax evasion or tax avoidance is one of those, well, not avoidance is okay, but evasion is not, right? To understand, taxes and things like that. I have a long list actually, but I think my time is up.
Well, thank you, Dave. That was quite exhaustive, and I think we might have to schedule different sessions so you give us financial tips. That was pretty deep and broad. So thanks for that. I'll go back to Mr. Olushola, and we're all about Canadian experience, the dreaded Canadian experience, and people say it's a form of telling you no. People say it's because you don't have the soft skills. So my question will be, how do you gather Canadian experience without having any job? And do I need to have volunteering experience in my resume to get a job?
Okay, so Canadian experience is useful. So basically, you would find that to get a job, they would ask you to provide references. The only way to provide references, well, you can actually, these days, you can use references from Nigeria or from wherever you're coming from. But it helps if you have somebody in Canada that you've worked with who can speak to your character, who can speak to your abilities. So yes, Canadian experience, the way to gather that is actually, the easiest way to do it is by volunteering. And when I say volunteering, it doesn't mean that you should work for people and not get paid. But volunteering could be in the form of maybe I have 1 hour a week, or I have 30 minutes every week. And I am willing to say to an organization that maybe most of the time it's easier for you to do that in maybe your place of worship, maybe at the community center around where you live, with an organization or an institution that is recognized in Canada, registered, recognized in Canada. And then when you do that, so there's nothing wrong with helping to do some administrative work in the library or the community center. There's nothing wrong with helping to do church accounting. And when you do that kind of thing, or maybe at the mosque, when you do that kind of thing, you can actually put it in your resume and say, yes, I have actually worked as a finance analyst, or as whatever title it is that you really have worked as. So that helps a lot. And then they would always be able to use that as a potential, they'll always be able to use it as a potential referee or reference. So volunteering, yes. The other thing that you may do will be maybe an internship. And there are quite a number of organizations that can assist. I know that Career Edge actually has a program for foreign trained professionals. When you come, the first couple of months or maybe a year after you arrive in Canada, you are eligible. If you go onto the Career Edge website, you register a profile, you will have an interview with them, and they will put their database, a bank of job opportunities, internship opportunities at your disposal. It's competitive, yes, you still have to apply, and you will still go through the rigors of being interviewed for that role. But what I find is that most people land internships through Career Edge, end up being retained by the organization. So it's really the organization looking for foreign trained professionals, giving them an opportunity to showcase their skills. If they are very good at what they do, then it usually would lead to a job offer after the internship. So that's something else that you can look to. And lots of organizations, I know there's Access Employment, I know Career Edge, like I said. The list is quite lengthy, so you just have to do a little bit of research and see what will fit in with your aspirations.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Shola, for that. Just a quick follow-up question on that. On Career Edge, is that a Canada-wide program, or is it specific to provinces?
Well, I think it is Canada-wide, and don't quote me on that. Okay. So because basically I live in Ontario, and to be honest with you, my knowledge of this things is limited to Ontario. So, but it's very easy to check. If you just Google Career Edge, I'm sure you will find them easily, and then you can make a phone call, send an email, contact them, and see if they're able to take care of you in whatever province or location that you are in Canada.
Great, thanks for that. We have a few more questions, maybe 3 or 4 more questions before we take questions from the audience. But I would like to go back to Debbie. So a common scenario with people or new immigrants when we land or when the land is, you don't get a job on time, and then you start debating, should I just go for a survival job? So the question really is, if you've been without a job for some time, what do you think should be done? Do you keep applying for the regular jobs you want to get, or do you start looking for a survival job?
Okay, so what I would say is this: it depends on your situation. The first thing is not to wait to the last moment, not until your last month of rent before you start doing this assessment. You should have this assessment before you even arrive. You should anticipate that you've been here for a long time, so that you can be here for a long time without a job. Okay, so you should plan for that before you leave your country, before getting here. But peradventure you didn't plan and you're here and you're stuck, there is no harm in having a survival job. There's dignity in labor. There's no job that is beneath anybody, right? As long as it pays your bills and takes care of your family, okay, and you're not stealing. So there's dignity in labor. That said, you have to be, careful in the kind of survival job you get. You don't want a job that you'll be working 16 hours a day and you won't have the time, the energy to look for a good job, right? So that should be, the most important thing when you're looking for a survival job. Be strategic in the kind of survival job you get. You want something that would still give you time to look for the job that you want, the career that you really want to pursue, right? You want it, because looking for a job is a full-time job. It takes a lot of energy, except you're just, sending your resumes without any purpose. But if you're applying the right way, it actually takes time and investment of energy to apply the right way. You look at the job description, you tailor the job, your resume to that job description, you prepare for interview. That takes time and it also takes energy. So if you went for a survival job and you are only sleeping 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day, it may be difficult for you to really look for a good job. So survival is okay. However, you need to have a strategy in place so that you don't get stuck in the survival job. Lumi, you're on mute.
Sorry, that's what happens on all these virtual meetings. You keep talking and you're actually talking to yourself. So thanks for that. The key takeaway that I got from that was that you have to have a strategy and plan, and don't wait until you're in a tight corner, where you're forced between a tight place. So the next question will go back to Mr. Shola. He has experience with mentoring and all for quite a while. And so the question will be, do I need a mentor? And what should I look out for in a mentor?
Okay, so I think everybody needs a doctor. What I would liken it to is, do you need a doctor to check if you're in good health? Do you need an accountant to file your taxes? Do you need a lawyer if you need legal representation? Yes, we do. So yes, it's good. We all need mentors. So a mentor is actually somebody who's been down that path and is able to motivate you, able to direct you, encourage you, is able to help you avoid certain pitfalls that would impede your progress. So mentors are very useful. I have mentors and I have mentees. So what do you want to look for in a mentor? So it depends on the kind of mentorship you aim to get. So are you looking for religious mentoring? Are you looking for professional mentoring? So essentially, you need to know within yourself what you need a mentor for. When you know that, then, so if you're looking for spiritual mentoring, then you need to look for somebody whose life reflects the kind of spiritual values that you want to acquire. If you're looking for mentorship in IT, you need to look for somebody who is successful in IT. You don't want to have a mentor. You're looking for mentorship in the medical line, and you get a mentor who does maybe is a banker. So you need to, match your mentoring needs with somebody who already showcases the values or whatever you aim to acquire through mentorship. So when that's done, be mindful. You need to be mindful of the fact that your mentor is not supposed to, you're not supposed to put your mentor under pressure to help you get a job. You're not supposed to put your mentor under the pressure of introducing you to his network. All these things come with time. As you interact with your mentor and as the days go by, they're able to now, once they are confident in the fact that they understand who you are, they know you, it's easier for your mentor to give to you those things that you don't even ask for. Once there is trust, once your mentor sees that, okay, yes, if I let this person into my world, will have no regrets. So it takes time, so spend that time to show your mentor that I'm worthy, and then it comes naturally. So yes, mentorship is desirable, and what you need to do is ensure that you know what you want from a mentoring relationship, and what you look for is whoever you choose or you approach to mentor, you should display those traits, those characteristics, should have the knowledge. You should see it, that person has what you're looking for before you ask for that person to mentor you. Don't gamble, don't speculate. If you don't see the physical manifestation of what you hope to get from a mentorship relationship, then that person is not right for you.
Great. Thanks, Shola, for that. Thanks for that great answer. We'll be moving on to the next session, but we just have one or two more questions to take, and we'll try to be fast with that. And the many questions are for Chinedu, and the question will be, my industry is regulated in Canada. Should I switch career paths or stick to it and get registered? So for example, people who come in as lawyers or engineers, for example, I came in with an engineering background, an engineering degree, and I made my choice anyways. But what would you suggest, or what advice would you give to people who find out that they get into Canada and they can't practice?
Thank you for that, Lumi. So in terms of regulation, right, it's, of course, there are certain professions where you need a license, right? But the good thing is also, the Canadian government know about this. So they also have created a lot of bridging programs where you can, use that as a, a pathway to get, back into your field. So that could be something, one is doing, one can do. There are, colleges and all that offer a lot of those bridging programs. So it's one of the things that we can leverage on. Then for some people as well, they could say, oh, I did my degree, or I did my nursing or medical degree because of my parents, or I did, something because of my parents, but this is what I want. I want IT. I love IT. I want tech. So it could be an option for someone, and that's also why NIPCA is here. So we help people pivot into information technology. We have different programs which we call incubation groups. We've got master classes. We've got the mentorship program. We've got a lot of these things that we've curated for us to be able to reach out to people who are thinking, okay, I want to first start in Canada, or maybe I've been doing this for so long and I'm stuck in it, right? But I want something different. I want a new challenge. I want a new vibe. I want something to inspire me. So IT can also be, one's escape point, to get to where you want to be. So if it's a regulated industry, you can use a bridging program, you can do some courses, you can do some of the things that are necessary. I have an engineering background. in Nigeria, I was a registered engineer for the Council of Registration of Engineers in Nigeria. So I was a current certified engineer. I had my stamp and all, but I came here and all, and I thought if I wanted to go to PEO and go into professional engineering in Ontario and all, it's going to take some while, it's going to do this and all, but let me do what I love doing and what I've got experience in, which was continuous improvement. So I focused on that. I did certifications, I did trainings and all, and I pivoted into that, right? But again, it could be different for someone else, right? You could leverage those skills that you have. I also am a project management professional as well, and I could decide to go into IT project or agile, you know, or something else. But it's all about leveraging those things that you have, sticking to what you know you love doing, and then, you know, as the saying goes, you know, find something you love doing and you never work a day in your life. So that would be my advice to, you know, anyone who has a regulated profession, right? So it's either you know do that bridging program to get to your desired point, or you could pivot into something different. And there are a lot of options in Canada. Thank you.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Janine. You'll be taking the last question. So going back to the story, your earlier presentation where you provided a river of life, and the question for that, you know, that relates to that will be, for some immigrants, getting the first job in Canada is a struggle. What levers did you pull to get a job before landing? I know you talked about that a little, but if you could just expatiate on that a little bit further, that would be great.
Thank you. That's the $1 million question, right? I knew that question would come. So again, some of the strategies I adopted, right? It could be different now, but back then, you can actually get a Canadian number without coming into Canada. So I did that. It was like a VPN number. It's a number that, yes, you have it. It's a 647 or 285 or whatever code you are. You could choose any area code. For me, I choose a Toronto area code. I think I chose 416. So I used that. I applied for jobs. I tailored my resume to the jobs, and they called me, and I picked the call right from Nigeria. So they asked, okay, so, you know, we started interviewing and all. It didn't seem as if I wasn't local, because my number was an international, or was a Canadian number, one. Secondly, my CV as well, you know, had a Canadian address. I hadn't been in Canada there, but again, I've got relatives here, so I kind of use the address because that's where I'm going to stay eventually. So it made sense. So now having that, it's a different ball game, because I was able to leverage that, right? Use that address. But nowadays you can actually use, you know, where your location, it could be Toronto, Ontario, you want to be in, right? If you're still in Nigeria, because I know some of our folks are back in Nigeria or in Africa, or, you know, any other country that you're looking to come into Canada from. So you can use that as an option. That helped me, because I was able to get calls. And then once I got those calls, it was like a foot in the door. I sold myself like a marketer, because you got to market your skills, you know. I marketed myself very well, and I was able to land subsequent interviews. Skype. Now everything is virtual, right? You could actually have a whole lot of interview without actually seeing physically. So I did the Skype interview. I did several Skype calls, and all of them were good. And no one actually asked me where I was, right? Until when I was to speak with the director. So they said I should come in person. And when they said that, I mentioned to them that, oh, like right now I'm not in the country. And that was true. I'm not in the country, but that I'll be in the country in 1 month's time. That was what I told them. And again, they said, okay, so why? I said, yes, I'm eligible to work in Canada, which I was, because I had my COPR. The only thing is that I hadn't, you know, landed, right? So based off on that, I was able to use that to leverage, you know, the virtual Canadian number, Canadian address, tailoring my applications to the companies that I know I'll stand a very good chance at, and it really paid. By the time I was coming into Canada, I had like 3 different jobs in several stages of recruitment, and then all it needed was just to see the director. So I did a couple of interviews days after landing, like face to face. And you know, when you're seeing the director or the VP, right, it's more like formalities, because you've passed through all those stages, right? You've crossed the ATS stage, you've crossed the recruiter stage, you've crossed the, you know, hiring manager, and also it was more like validating to just say, okay, yeah, we like what we see, right? So I did that, and really that helped me. Another thing I would say is explore the hidden job market. Network, right? Network. You know, through NIPCA, we've got platform. We've got our Slack channel, which we divided into different competencies, right, in terms of areas of interest. So network with those people, network with like minds, and then, you know, based off on that, you can actually maybe land a job. and additionally, LinkedIn as well. Don't be afraid to make cold calls, right? You could say, oh, several of my calls are not hitting the mark, right? But if you make like 10 calls, maybe one will hit the mark, and your hit rate is 10%, right? So the more calls you make, right, the more you knock on the door. And again, have your pitch document, have that 1 minute stuff that you can say, or that you can actually reach out to, and people will say, oh, let's give this guy a chance, right? And let me tell you, right, there's a lot of focus now on Black professionals, right? There's a lot of focus on us because they are seen, not just because of the whole Black Lives Matter and all, but just because they see that we bring a difference, right? We've got a different way of thinking. We've got a different background. Those things are valid, those skills are valid. Those experiences, the experience of even queuing up to get fuel, the experience of power failure, the experience of reading with candle, reading with poor light. I read novels, a whole books, I read books with the moonlight, right? And I'm proud to say it. I tell people that, right? And those kind of things formed me, and those are your stories, and those are some of the stories that you can leverage, and talk, so that people will see you and say that, oh, you're different, So what I'll just advise is, right, it's a struggle, pull those levers, have your story, have your pitch document, network, and you could actually land a job before landing. But again, the thing is, you should actually have a right to permanent residence, right, which is like your confirmation of permanent residence, or be in that process, so that you could tell them, yes, I've submitted my application, and then it just remains a little. But again, it's going to be difficult if you do not already have the right and access to work in Canada, because the company has to justify that there's nobody else in Canada that can do the job except you, that's out of the country, right? So using those would really help us. Thanks.
Wow, that was long and interesting. Thanks for thanks for putting that out. People who are still coming into Canada, people who are out of the country waiting to land, will definitely find that very useful. That was really exciting and insightful. So we're past over the time allotted, so we'll try to move on a bit faster. So right now we've ended the panelist discussion. We'll be going on to the other item, which is taking questions and answers from the audience. There are a few questions that I've seen already, and if you have questions, please put that up. The panel will attend to that, and we'll put those questions to them. So I'm just going to scroll through and look at the questions I've seen. I think maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 questions have been posted. I'm just going to look at, I know I saw a question about starting an IT business, but I'm just going to scroll through the questions and post that to the panel. Just a second. Yeah, I have 2 screens, and it's a bit challenging to do all this at the same time. So I have a question that says, I really can. Okay, I think comments are coming in. Just 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Just to help me out, yeah, I can see a lot of questions. I mean, a lot of comments. If you have posted a question, if you could paste or type in the question 1 more time, that would be helpful, so I can. Okay, so I see a recent one from David, and David says, any advice for immigrants intending to live and work in Quebec, Montreal, and Quebec City, especially after we rapidly learn business French? So that'll be the first question that'll go to the panel, and anybody on the panel can try to answer that, if that's fine.
Okay, so this is Debbie answering. So for working in Quebec, right, or Montreal, if you plan to be in the city, so either Montreal City or Quebec City itself, you can probably go get by with English alone, at least to start. Okay, there are many multinationals in these 2 places, especially Montreal, that we don't need to really learn French to be successful, get a job. Okay. However, if you want to be in Quebec long term, definitely you need to learn French. Okay. And there's no, I don't think learning a new language, everyone is different. You see a lot of resources on the internet that says learn a new language in 3 months. Don't believe those things. Okay. I know because I'm the only one that cannot speak French in my house. All the people in my house, my husband and kids, they are learning French, okay, and they can speak it, but not to a business level, okay. But you can learn it. It's just that it's not immediate. There are a lot of resources online. There's I think there are popular apps, free apps online to actually learn French, and there are quite a number of books that you can use to learn French. Now, if you immigrate to Quebec, there are actually programs sponsored by the province for people that want to learn French that are actually free. So learning French if you're in Quebec is not an issue. And even if you're in Ontario, if you're in Northern Ontario and you want to learn how to speak French, there are a lot of government resources that are free French classes that you can get into. Getting a job, English speaking job in Montreal or Quebec City is not difficult. When you start leaving the city, then it becomes challenging because most small towns or medium-sized towns outside of Montreal or Quebec is really filled with French-speaking people that don't understand English.
Great, great, awesome. I have another question from Gloria, and she says, I don't know if this might require a different session, but I'll just put up a question. So she says that, what advice do you have for people who intend setting up an IT company in Canada?
So there's a little bit of ambiguity around that question. When you say IT company, do you mean like an incorporation? Or do you mean you want to set up an IT company like maybe a Microsoft or a Google, So I'll see, basically when you say companies, there are large companies, there are small companies, there are small, medium enterprises, they're sole proprietorships. So it depends, but there's absolutely, the easiest way is to have to incorporate. So basically, you register that company, you incorporate, and it's as easy as going online. It takes a couple of minutes after you have gone through the process, and you get your certificate of incorporation, you get your articles and whatever emailed to you, and you apply for maybe a HST GST number, and that's your company setup. So that's the bit about formalizing the establishment of that entity itself. So, and that's all. It means that you're registered and you're authorized to provide whatever services you applied to provide, and the rest is up to you. If you are able to grow it to the size of a Google or a Microsoft, it's entirely up to how hard you work at it. So I hope that provides a little bit of insight, and if not, well, you may want to rephrase the question.
Okay, thanks, Jola, for that. Please keep your questions coming in. We have maybe 5 more minutes to take questions, but we have a question, and I can see it's been attended to it in the text in the chat box. But Jacinta says she's a fashion designer but has a computer science background, and she needs advice on what career paths to take in Canada. What would be your advice to Jacinta?
So I'll take a stab at that. It's not a one size fits all. To Debbie's point earlier, you need to be true to yourself. You need to assess how well you are able to survive without an income. You need to give consideration to a number of things, but essentially at one stage or one point in everybody's lives and careers, you want to do something that you're happy to do. So like I said before, moving from one country to another might provide the opportunity to reset holistically. So you're moving from one location to the other. So maybe it's an opportunity for you to move from what you used to do into what you really want to do. Now, are you able to commit the time to reskill? Are you able to survive without doing that job that you've always done while you are learning what you really want to do? I know somebody who came to Canada was an engineer by training, had worked in a bank in Nigeria, worked in a bank in Canada on arrival, and went back to medical school. She's a medical doctor today. So, but that's, it's based on each individual, what your circumstances are. But you just need to be honest with yourself. You don't want to run into trouble, into financial trouble, trying to go into a profession or into a sector and you leave your bills unpaid. So do that assessment, and definitely you can. And you can study part-time. You can work full-time, study part-time. You can work part-time, study full-time. It's a function of where you are and who you are.
Great. And just to let everybody know, a link has been put up in the chat box where you can sign up to NIPCA. We have communication channels where a lot of these questions are answered. We have, like Kemi already said, incubation teams, mentoring teams, and so a lot of these questions can also be answered once you remember. We'll take just 2 more questions, and I have a question from Doing, and this is about social integration. She says, how did you handle social integration in your journey?
Let me take a stab at that. So social integration is a very key thing, right? Because sometimes Canada can be very lonely, right? So first, I think you need to tell yourself that no man is an island, right? You need a network, you need a community, right, of people who can be there as a support structure for you. When I joined, the first community I joined was my local ethnic kind of community, right? Just to associate with people who speak same language with me, right? Nigeria is diverse, for people that don't know. Like, we've got over 250 languages and more than 300 tribes. So based off on that and all, I kind of worked with those people, to understand some things, some structures and all. That helps in social integration. The second part I did was to join the next forward-thinking organization. So there were a lot of organizations that had different potentials, but when I looked at it and all, it was either that the values don't align with mine and all, but NIPCA was one that I saw that, it really rocks my boots, right? So I joined NIPCA earlier on. We used to be in WhatsApp group, less than 60 members, we grew to 200, we grew more than 250, and it couldn't contain us. Then we moved to Telegram. Now we're over 3,000 strong, members. So across our platforms, right? So having that community also helped. Then also, we Nigerians, or most immigrants, are quiet, right? Because we're in a new country, we don't know the system and all, right? So it looks as if things are awkward and awry for us, right? But one thing we should do, which I also told myself, and I struggled through it for some time, is to believe in ourselves, believe in our ability, right? We all same, right? We've got 2 hands, 2 legs, 1 head, even more intellect, if I would say, because we went through things the hard way, right? Imagine when you had to go queue up or take water from the well, you didn't have pipe-on water, and you had fluctuating electricity, right? So having all those struggles made us tougher. We have thicker skin. So don't be afraid to integrate. Don't be afraid to bring your natural self. Don't be afraid to believe in yourself. Okay. Form people, liaise with people in your network. If you're single and all, right, don't be afraid. And sometimes being single can be an advantage, and also on the flip side can also come against one, because Canada can be so lonely, right? In Canada, you don't have it the same way it is back home, where you could meet someone in the bus and you start talking, right? People are on their phone or with their headset and everything, so it's very challenging. So social integration is very key. Where you have a group like NIPCA and all, you associate with more forward-thinking people. Be careful, see the kind of people that they are. If you have your community associations, leverage that as well. I don't know, some people say Bumble and dating platforms and all those stuff and all, but I believe that you need to look at your network to integrate very well in your network if you are single. And then again, if you're married or you're professional, right, you look at those professional network and relate with them. So that would be my advice for concrete social integration part.
Great. Thank you, Jenny, for that. So that brings us to the end of the Q&A session. Like I had said already, we have a link in the chat box where you could sign up. And if you're not a member of NIPCA, you could sign up and join. There are lots of benefits, professional networking, just building that community and ecosystem, and that feeling that you belong somewhere. Those are benefits that we can all connect. We can all gain from. We're going to move forward to the next item, and I'll bring on Kemi to talk about our resources, needs, and next steps. Kemi, over to you.
Thank you, Lumi. Thanks, everyone, once again. Hope you've been able to learn something, if not a lot of things. I believe everyone has picked up at least one thing that's very useful that they can arm themselves with going forward. So, so next steps. So as we said earlier, this is the maiden version of the program, and we have in NIPCA we have the resources that we've built resources for different provinces. So there's a Google document where we've added the links, different links for all of the not all, there's always resources online, but we have lots of them that we've included in the Google document. So you fill the form. Chini just posted the link. Chini is going to post the link in the chat box. You fill the form so you can access these resources online. Then in NIPCA, there's always the mentorship program, which happens every 2 months. There's the incubation group, master classes, collaboration platforms, and the newcomer program, which is the one we're talking about here. So once again, join NIPCA. It's not for IT professionals. I'm not an IT professional, not for IT professionals alone, even though it started up as such. Now NIPCA is covering everyone. That's the vision now, to be out there to help and be an inclusive community so we can help everybody and be as effective as we can. So hopefully we will have this program again, even a better one in the next, say, 4 months or thereabout. We might not be able to have it, like I said earlier, in the 4 quarters of this year. And yeah, Chini, I believe you've posted that link in the chat box. I can't see that anymore. Let me just open the chat box here. Okay. Yeah, so.
Yes, I did, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Chini. So please do fill that program, and we hope to we can help others to benefit from this program, share the things we've learned, encourage people to join, and invite people when we have this program again. Sorry, excuse me, in the next few months. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kemi. So we're getting to the end of the program. This has been really fun for me. I'm still a newcomer myself, technically. So I've had a lot of learnings from this session. I hope everyone else has also had quite a few things to learn and how we can flourish and get better at what we do and improve our lives in Canada. Yeah. And for those intending to come to Canada also, hopefully we've been able to get some nuggets that will be useful in your journey to Canada and flourishing in Canada, because we all should be flourishing, right? So we'll be going to the end of the session. We'll take a vote of thanks from Adi Funke, and then we'll have music. And so if you want to stay back and bob to music or just have a good time, you can stay back. We'll be having some music just after Funke takes the vote of thanks. So I'll call in Funke to give us the vote of thanks now.
1 second, Lumi, before the vote of thanks.
Okay. Sure.
Yes, so yep. I know that Kevin mentioned that the intention is for NIPCA to be an all-inclusive organization, and she did speak about the IT part of it, but is NIPCA open to people of other nationalities? Because it says Nigerian IT professionals. So if any of the NIPCA officials can speak to that, I believe that there are a couple of people on the meeting who are not Nigerian. So are they welcome to join NIPCA? Can they benefit from NIPCA's initiatives?
Yeah, okay, I'll speak to that. I also double as the membership development director. So Yeah, NIPCA, we're trying to make NIPCA inclusive, right, for everyone. Because again, we came to Canada and we're talking about diversity, right? So why don't we also extend that, brotherly love to everyone, right? So very soon we'll be unveiling some plans, right? So people that are not Nigerians can join NIPCA. NIPCA is going to grow, it's going to be a part of a larger body of, hopefully Black immigrant professionals. So Black professionals, right, across the world, right? Not just in Canada. So, people who are not of Nigerian extraction, they can join NIPCA. People who are not of IT background, they could also join NIPCA. What we want to do is to build a community where everybody benefits. So, and we're excited to, go on that journey with everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Sini, for that. Funke, can you please give us a vote of thanks, and so we get to some music and relax.
Okay. Yeah, so on behalf of the Newcomer Onboarding Work Group and NIPCA at large, I'd like to thank our panelists, Lushola Omoni, Debbie Oladunjoye, and Chinedu Uke, and our able moderator, Lumi Olotu, for sharing their story and their thoughts and being able to answer the questions that were posted. And special thanks to everyone present here today for being part of this great event, Flourish in Canada, Success Strategy for New Immigrants. Enjoy the rest of the evening and keep safe. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody. It was fun, it was exciting, it was insightful, and we'll wait for our DJ to hit us with some music.